Welcome. We are the Idaho School Sentinels.
So Linda, I have a question for you. Why do you think Sherri Ybarra, the state superintendent of schools, would be dishonest with the citizens?
Sonia, I don't think she would want to be dishonest. What do you mean she was dishonest?
Well, I want to show you a video and then we'll discuss it.
So the standards have been changed. Under my leadership and with the help of the legislature, 2 years ago we went out for public comment on the standards. We did 6 months of input from the citizens. We did it online, in person, and took feedback. We took those changes to the legislature and we teach the Idaho content standards.
Superintendent of Education, Sherri Ybarra. Maybe this is the year we're going to get rid of Common Core. We're hoping so, up here.
We did get rid of it. No, we didn't rename it. We went out for 6 months and took feedback and went around the state and took public input 2 years ago, and the legislature approved the changes. That was not adopted by me.
Sonia, explain to me, what about that is dishonest? I'd really like to know.
So the truth is, if you were to get the Common Core standards and the Idaho standards right side by side, they are nearly identical. In fact, you would have a really hard time finding any differences at all.
Well, you know, I heard something about that, but I also heard that they had interviewed people and got some input and then made changes. So if they got input and they made changes, why are they still about the same?
Yeah, and I've heard the same thing. In fact, I've heard some people report that teachers were involved in making those changes. And so I think, you know, didn't you read something in the newspaper also that would go along with that?
Yes, this was in February in the Bingham County Chronicle. And Janie Ward Engelking, a Democrat from Boise, she said, the current standards were written by highly skilled Idaho educators. They were taken to the public to review, then rewritten to reflect the input, and finally, after they were rewritten, they were brought to the legislature and we adopted them. This was a 3-year process, she said.
So actually, I went to the House Education Committee hearing on the Common Core this year in January. It was on the 15th of January, and I heard Sherri Ybarra testify that she had gone out and gotten comments about the Common Core from the public and educators, and she got 7,500 responses.
With 500 responses, you'd be able to make a lot of changes. Hopefully, she made it. Well, whoever was there doing it made a lot of changes.
You would think. But I called the State Department of Education once I got home from that meeting in Boise, and I spoke to someone and said, I would like to have a list of all the changes that were made. I serve on the local school board here in Blackfoot. I need to make sure our district is following the correct set of standards. Would you please give me those? So a couple of days later, I got an email that listed all of the changes that were made to the Common Core standards in order to transform them into the Idaho standards.
Well, I don't want you to take a lot of time here, Sonia, because I'm sure there are lots of things to tell me.
You would think. So in the math standards, there were 104 pages of original Common Core standards. Yes. And those pages were not one standard per page. No, it was lists of pages, lists of standards on each page, mind you. The total number of math changes that were made were 2.
After 7,000 input, they changed 2 standards?
Yeah. And
well, that was a waste of time.
And how many years?
Oh, took them 3 years with all the input. You know, a lot of input.
And a lot of input.
Well, they thought about the input and tossed it out.
Yeah. And, you know, they were written by Idaho teachers, which makes it really interesting because when I look at standards for other states, they are identical to our standards here in Idaho. So then I'm thinking, if Idaho teachers wrote these standards, wow, it's amazing that 41 or 40 or 41 other states likes our standards well enough to duplicate them exactly. You know, that makes you wonder. But back to the math, one of those changes was actually to one of the standards. It just says add a footnote.
Oh, well,
That was it.
Sounds incredibly important. I hope we can do better with
That was it.
I hope we can do better with the language arts standards.
Well, you would think. So I looked at the language arts standards, and it turns out there are 66 pages of language arts standards. Once again, each page has multiple standards listed, right? And the total number of changes to the English language arts standards that I received, 21 changes.
Well, maybe they were big changes, like they threw out something and put in something else.
So the truth is, 9 of these were identical. So through different grades, they posted the same, or they added the same little section. And it says, I quote, use precise language and domain-specific vocabulary to support the opinion piece. So it's just part of a standard that they added. So that's 9 of those 21. The others are just adding a word or here to an existing standard.
So we really do have Common Core. We have Common Core.
Yeah.
And so you need to
Yeah.
say Common Core. If you like Common Core, okay, say you've got Common Core.
Right. Why the deception? You know, why try to hide this? So really, a lot of people across the state have been concerned about Common Core for years, and they have things that they feel like are wrong with Common Core, and so there's kind of a movement to get rid of it. So I think maybe Sherri Ybarra wants to make those people feel like she's done what they wanted, right? But, you know, it's for her to say, no, we didn't rename it. That's like if you went out and you bought a Toyota, right? You came home and you put different tires on the Toyota, and then you told your friends, no, I don't have a Toyota anymore.
Yeah, I changed my steering wheel cover to this car, so it's not a Toyota anymore. That was a big change.
It's dishonest, and it's wrong.
Dishonest.
Especially when you look side by side and you see that these standards are identical to Common Core. So once again, if they were good standards, why the deception? You know, these standards have never really been proven or vetted. In fact, there's no proof that they have helped Idaho students since they were implemented in 2011. Our national scoring, which is called the NAEP score, when we compare that to what we had prior to Common Core or prior to the Idaho Standards, our scores have not gone up at all.
Not at all.
Right. And when we have a comparison as a nation, the United States with other countries, our national standing amongst other countries, we haven't gone up at all since the implementation of Common Core.
It didn't help.
So what can we do about it?
Well, you know, I think you should call your legislators. It's very simple to do. Just find their number online. You can call, and someone will answer the phone right away. A really nice secretary will take your message. You can sometimes talk to your legislator, and also you can send an email. Oh, send an email. Send lots of emails. Get your opinion out there.
Right. And you can do just like I did. You can call the State Department of Education. You can ask them to email you the specific things that have been changed from Common Core in order to make the Idaho Standards, and you should see exactly what I saw. Hopefully you can understand this issue better.
And we are the Idaho School Sentinels. Bye for now.